again is Nathan.
Sarah, what are we drinking this week? I got some floaties on the top of mine.
Well, today we will be drinking lemonade, blueberry juice, and ginger ale. And for those of you who drink alcohol, feel free to add any alcohol of your choosing. And today it's called Centennial, and that's because we'll be talking about the Brantford Centennial of 1977.
So why does this centennial happen in 1977? Why doesn't it happen in, say, like 1919 or any other year? What is so important about 1977?
Well, to officially become a city, Brantford had to reach a population of 10,000, which happened on May 31st of 1877, 100 years prior to the centennial that we'll be talking about today.
Okay, so what are some of the key events of the Brantford Centennial then in 1977?
Well, the Brantford Centennial was used as a way to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Brantford officially being a city. It had events going on throughout the entire year of 77, such as theater and musical performances, as well as the Canberra Games, which was a sporting competition between Brantford and Berrien County, Michigan, and they would alternate hosting the event. Not only that, but there were also markets and antique shows too, as well as many other things. However, today we'll be focusing on the opening ceremony that happened on May 31st of 1977.
Okay, Sarah, did they have Brantford Centennial tattoo like they had for the old Homeboys Week?
No, however, there was a song called the Brantford Centennial Song. This song was written by Gary Muir and performed by Gary and his wife Avril Muir and their kids Kiri and Kevin, and was performed in front of City Hall.
There's a city that I know in southern Ontario. Started slow but kept on growing. It moved on its way. Begun by men with a vision sure of something better made to endure. They gave their all to secure what we have today. Brantford City, people are nice and hearts are pretty, a past to remember, a future that's fun. Ours is a city moving with the time.
Okay, Sarah, so what exactly took place at these opening ceremonies?
Well, the opening ceremony took place at City Hall and started at 6:30 p.m. and was later moved to the Civic Center at 8 p.m. And at 10 p.m. there was a fireworks display at Earl Haig Park. Not only that, but there was estimated to be around 10,000 people that showed up.
Whoa, that's literally an entire city of people there. So surely there were some problems that arose from this.
Actually, because there were so many people at the celebration, they actually had to turn people away from entering the Civic Center because it was already filled way beyond its capacity of 3,000 people. And many of the people were very disappointed because those who went to the celebration at City Hall were told that they were guaranteed a seat at the Civic Center. However, when they arrived, the Civic Center was already filled with people.
Okay, Sarah, so if I couldn't get into the Civic Center, I just would have gone back to City Hall and joined the festivities there.
Yes, and many people that were turned away actually went back to City Hall because they were so disappointed that they wouldn't be able to get into the Civic Center.
Okay, Sarah, certainly they had some security like the B-Dot team.
Well, due to the rain, they had to start letting people into the Civic Center early. And they did have security at all the entrances that were trying to control the crowds. Not only that, but apparently there were 2 expositor reporters that had to sneak into the place and actually started running after being refused admittance into the place. As well as the crowds that were trying to get in were described as a stampede, and there were even a few security guards that were trampled over by the crowds trying to get in.
So a birthday celebration is never complete without cake.
Well, there was also a giant birthday cake that was 188 feet and 1 inch long, and it ran the entire length of the ice part of the Civic Center floor. And it was actually a world record attempt. It was also decorated with chocolate icing with green leaves and 100 candles to mark the 100th anniversary. And there were 102 kids from the schools that were in charge of lighting all the candles that were on the birthday cake. There were 102 just in case 2 kids would not be able to make it. However, all of them were able to make it, so the remaining 2 kids just helped with cutting the cake.
Okay, the Civic Center's over capacity and now everyone wants cake. What happens?
Well, after the candles were blown out by the kids, the adults in the stands started to crowd around the 2 entrances, pushing and shoving their way to get to the floor where the cake was, just to get a piece while it was being cut. And the floor was littered with pieces of chocolate cake and napkins. Not only that, but some of the younger kids actually climbed over the glass that separates the stands from the ice and were ignoring the ushers who were trying to keep the cake distribution orderly as they could.
Okay, with all this pandemonium going on, certainly there had to be some kind of royal proclamation against the chaos.
Well, the Brantford City Centennial Queen Alison Macmillan actually stated how greatly disappointed she was about how the celebration was organized, and that the organizers obviously didn't account for the overwhelming amount of people that showed up. She was also very disappointed about that when the people who were guaranteed a spot from City Hall got to the Civic Center, there were already a ton of people and they could not get in. She also thought there should have been much more entertainment than what occurred for Brantford's birthday.
The Centennial Queen complained about the lack of events and things that happened. So certainly there was more than she thought.
Well, there was Geordie McGowan, who was the son of Sue and Roger McGowan, and was the Centennial Baby for the 77th Centennial. Geordie was actually wheeled around in an antique baby carriage that was borrowed from our museum, which would definitely not be allowed nowadays.
Okay, so we focused a lot on the Civic Center, but what happened at City Hall?
Well, a lot happened at City Hall, such as Mayor Bowen started it off with the ringing of the town bell, which currently is outside at the museum, as well as the 56th Field Regiment did a 100-round salute, and it actually started to thunder and lightning after they finished playing. There was also a playing of trumpets in front of City Hall, and not only that, but there was a reenactment of the 1877 Torchlight Parade.
Okay, so you mentioned this parade, Sarah. What does this parade include?
Well, the parade was actually very large that had to be divided into 6 different sections, starting with Section A and going to Section F. There were a lot of bands that performed and many floats, including the St. John Drum Corps had 2 bands performing as well as a float, as well as a few brass bands and floats from the Girl Guides, the Boys and Girls Club of Brantford, and many of the international village queens also had their own cars that they were driven in.
Wow, Sarah, the Brantford Centennial was quite the event, and not without controversy.
Indeed. Anyway, thank you for watching this season of Brant History Happy Hour. Stay tuned for Saturday for a bloopers reel.